live from the Steele Twins recording studio in beautiful Traverse City, Michigan, and the Metro Detroit area. Here are your hosts for this week's Outside Blitz, the fabulous Scotty Fraytown and the Cannonball, Alex Steele.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Outside Blitz. I am your host, the fabulous one, Scotty Fraytown, along with my co-host, the Cannonball, Alex Steele, joining us from the fabulous, wonderful Steele Twins Gaming Studio in Traverse City. Alex, how we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. We're live
Yes.
on Twitch. It was a fiasco, but we got here. We figured out how to go live here on Twitch.
Yeah, it took some doing, kids, but I will make you a tech nerd yet. Don't you worry.
I mean, look, it was tough, but anything worth doing is we got here. Okay, I love our layout. I love what we're doing. I love the fact that we're live right here. That's exciting stuff. But the Outside Blitz, man, we're ready to rock and roll. Wild Card Weekend is in the books. And wow, what a wild card weekend it was. Man, we watched, at least 4 of those games were absolute barn burners, really excellent matchups, especially on Saturday. We had the privilege of watching those with, one of the founding members of this show, the tenacious, titillating Tyler Dean. We got to sit down with him, eat some stir fry. We got to watch those 2 games, the Rams and Panthers, and then the Packers and Bears game. Both of those just killer matchups. We did promise you guys offensive tackle prospects this week, so we're going to be jumping into a few of those because it is officially entering the offseason, but we are in draft season. We're in mock draft season. We're in prospect season. We're nearing the NFL Combine. You and I will both be in Indianapolis. I believe Boots is going to join us as well. We're going to be joined by your brother, Steele Twins Andy, so we're going to be doing that. And, hey, we got a lot of football excitement coming up in the next couple of months for us. Couldn't be any more excited than I currently am. How about you?
No, it's like it's debatable about which season of which part of the football season is more exciting. Is it the beginning of the season when everything gets started? Is it the postseason when you get to find out who's the Super Bowl champion, or is it the preseason? Is it the preseason and draft stuff, the off season? I mean, honest to goodness, sometimes the off season drama is rivals, if not surpasses, the regular season drama.
Yeah, before when Tyler was on the show, he used to say that draft season and free agency day, they were his favorite times of the year. They were, and we always talk about football holidays during the season. We're always talking about, let's talk about the Super Bowl, or let's talk about Week 18. We get excited about Week 18, or Super Wild Card Weekend. We get excited about that stuff. But when it's time for the draft and actually breaking stuff down and trips to Indianapolis and all that stuff that we do for the show and for our Blitz Babies out there, as it were. Listen, I can understand why Tyler felt the way he felt, but man, we've got some stuff to jump into. We've got some news around the league. We've got wild card stuff to jump into. Man, let's jump into some of these scores. Here are your scores for Week 18 weekend, starting with the Rams and the Panthers. The Rams go out and beat the Panthers 34-31. This was a completely just a fiery matchup. I loved it. Matt Stafford was wonderful in this game, was he not?
He was great. This is a back and forth heavyweight fight. A lot scrappier than we anticipated, and a lot kind of true to form from their first matchup earlier on in the year.
Yeah, it was a way scrappier, but not only that, you have to love the abilities of one Puka Nacua. You've got to love the abilities of Matthew Stafford, obviously playing at an MVP level this year. In this game, 24 for 42, 304, 3 touchdowns. He did throw a pick in this game. But Nacua was great. Devontae Adams was great. 5 receptions, 72 yards. And I particularly love the late season heroics that we've seen from one Colby Parkinson, the tight end. He's been excellent all year in the red zone. He comes through clutch, and he doesn't always get a big workload, and it's not always that time, but he does wind up, getting 2 catches, 34 yards, a touchdown here. Kyren Williams, well, he hasn't been the most efficient running back this year. I mean, he's only got a 4.4 average in this game, 13 carries, 57 yards, but he also got 2 catches for 18 yards and a touchdown. And Kyren Williams, to his credit, has been a little bit of a touchdown machine for the Rams over the last several years. And then for the Panthers, you got to love the step forward. I'm still a little concerned about the run game because Chuba Hubbard, 13 carries, 46 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns, but just a 3.5 average on the day. They sat back on Rico Dowdle, and they started feeding Chuba Hubbard the ball again, even though Rico Dowdle, as we've said for the last several weeks, has carried the Panthers season. And now we get Bryce Young. Rico Dowdle has basically come out and said, hey, man, I'm going to go test free agency. So, I mean, it's kind of an unfortunate situation for the Panthers. And not only that, you get Jalen Coker. I mean, he had a huge game in this one. 9 receptions, 134 and a touchdown. It's his biggest game to date. Tet McMillan had 5 for 81. Tommy Tremble, 3 for 22. I mean, Tet McMillan is every bit of a number 1 receiver. I think Jalen Coker, he was the benefactor of teams kind of queuing in on Tet McMillan. This was a great game for both receivers, though. Bryce Young, I mean, look, the Panthers have come out and said they're going to pick up his 5th-year option. I don't know how smart that is. I mean, we've still got questions. I mean, he was just a tick over 50% here. I mean, do you like Bryce Young getting brought back here? Or, I mean, where are you at on that?
I don't think it's really time to throw the book at Bryce Young just yet. He's only been, he's only had, he's definitely had several years now to kind of get used to this offensive scheme. However, it must also be noted that, the first couple of years, he did not have an offensive line to protect him. So you cannot fault Bryce Young for that. And I kind of wanted to do something interesting. So I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison between their November 30th matchup where the Panthers won 31-28 and then this playoff matchup where the Panthers again scored 31 points. So you're talking 62 points you're dropping on the Los Angeles Rams, and the Rams just found a way to get more, and the Rams found a way to win by 3. This was a Matt Stafford
statement game. That's what it was. This was Matt Stafford going, look, you beat me the first time, but look, if my defense isn't going to get it done, I'm Matt Stafford. I'm playing at an MVP level. I'm going to go get it done. Yes. And that's exactly what he did.
Precisely. And if we take a look at both of these games, evenly, so on November 30th, their total yards were matched up, 379 to 358. Passing yards, Matt Stafford was clearly better through the air, 227 to 194. But the Panthers had the better rushing game, and they dominated the time of possession in that November 30th matchup, 35 minutes of possession, and they made a field goal. They they had 7 penalties in that game. They allowed 2 sacks. Again, kind of a back and forth thing. Now, something different this game around. Obviously, the total yards, now the Rams have the more total yards in the playoff game, 411 to 333. 295 passing yards for the Rams, 250 for the Panthers. And they actually did much better in the running game. And again, I think if we take a look at Rico Dowdle's numbers from November 30th, Rico Dowdle had 18 carries for 58 yards with a 3.2 average. Chuba Hubbard had 17 carries for 83 yards and a 4.9 average. So even back that far, Chuba Hubbard was really starting to get, his lion's share of the carries. Then, but then, you fast forward to last Saturday, and Rico Dowdle's nowhere to be seen. And I think
5 carries.
That's 5 carries for 9 yards. So I really think at the end of the day, Rico Dowdle was the straw that stirred the Panthers' drink. And if you take And obviously defense ruled the roost with the Rams. The Rams dominated time of possession in the playoff game. So it is definitely a tale of two games and a tale of two different times in the season. And when it comes to nut cutting time, and the season's on the line, and it's win or go home, who do you want to have on your team? If I'm a betting man, I want Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, and Stafford, look, he said in this game, and they had a post-game interview with Devontae Adams. He said, I guess Stafford told him, "Let's go take their heart," is what he said, and that's exactly what he. I mean, if that's not some cold-blooded shit,
yeah.
I mean, goodness gracious.
Well, the man's been a dog for years. Yeah. And not just because he was from Georgia, go Dogs, but no, he's been an absolute competitor for years, and he'll have a bust in Canton, right alongside Justin Herbert. He'll probably get in first, but I'll tell you what, he's bound for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Matt Stafford, he's sixth, if I'm not mistaken, in passing yards in league history. So, I mean, that's a huge thing. He's got a chance to jump into the top five probably in the next season here. But he did suffer a hand injury in this game. The good news for the Rams is that the x-rays came up negative. He says he's not worried about it, that he intends to play this weekend. So, yeah, exactly. The Rams sort of wiping their brow there going, "Ooh, man, we got away with one." Mm-hmm. They're not winning without Matt Stafford. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, especially since now they got to go to Chicago. They got to go to the Windy City, where Soldier Field is right there by Lake Michigan, and you got that cold front snow coming. You got that cold front wind coming in. Whoo, daddy.
Yeah, it's going to be a snowy one probably in Chicago. The wind chill this week was insane. They said it was like 65-mile-an-hour winds out there this week. So hopefully that settles down a little bit for Chicago. But
yeah,
goodness gracious.
That's gonna factor into kicking, as I think we might be talking about a little bit later on here.
Oh, yeah, we will be. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the Bears and the Packers. The Bears, they go out and beat the Packers 31-27. They come back from 21-3 to beat the Packers.
I wonder what happened. What happened the last time something like that? I think it was 28-3, and it was the New England Patriots.
That's painful. That's painful.
Yeah, it is very painful.
But in this game, Jordan Love looked all right, 24 for 46, 323, 4 touchdowns. I mean, I can't sit here and say I fault Jordan Love. The Packers, everybody's been pointing fingers, fire everybody. It's just been all hellfire and brimstone, for the Green Bay Packers. But at the end of the day, Matt LaFleur is a good coach. He's been a good coach for a long time, and now we've got a situation where people wanted Matt LaFleur fired. Packers say, and they're expected to extend Matt LaFleur within the next week here. So we're going to see that extension probably on the horizon. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you can be upset in the moment. I get it. But really, are you going to go, full bore and fire Matt LaFleur? One of the best coaches in football, hands down. I mean, it's not even a question. He's one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, this is something you don't want to do as an organization. I mean, you have a great thing going here. Even though you have a first round exit here, and it's never easy to stomach something like that. But at the same by the same token, you have the pieces in place. You just need some defense. I think the exit of Jair Alexander really was a deciding factor, down the stretch.
And not only that, so Jair Alexander, him getting traded early on was a big deal, because when you trade Jair Alexander, right, and you lose a corner, but then you didn't really replace him with anybody throughout a majority of the season, and then you lose Micah Parsons, late in the year. of course you're going to struggle. Of course your defense is going to have a hard time. Realistically, the defense in Green Bay was built around Micah Parsons. They went and picked him up and said, we need a great pass rusher. Let's go pick him up. And they traded all those draft picks to Dallas and made the big move. Micah Parsons goes down with the ACL, so they didn't have him, and here we are. And then they go to try and sort of replace what they lost with Jair Alexander, who's they traded him away to Baltimore, and they were like, oh, we'll go replace it. No problem. And then they go on and pick up Trayvon Diggs because Dallas released him as well. And I don't think that really worked out for him. I mean, if you look at the situation with the Bears, Caleb Williams, he was 24 for 48 for 361, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, there were 2 picks, but I mean, he came roaring back in this game. And then, I mean, DeAndre Swift, 13 carries, 54 yards, a touchdown. And then Colston Loveland, for Christ's sake, this is like the 4th or 5th big game in a row. 8 receptions, 137 yards. DJ Moore, 6 for 64 and a touchdown. Roma Dunze, 2 for 44. Luther Burden, 3 for 42. I mean, Caleb Williams is throwing it all over the yard. So, yeah. I mean, he had all kinds of time, too. It's not like the Packers pass rush was really, really getting home that much. He was, and a lot of it was Caleb and his mobility. But, 1 sack. I mean, if that's Micah Parsons out there, you've got at least 3.
Right, precisely. And I think losing Micah Parsons in the middle of the season or just before the end of the season really was the nail in the coffin for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, it was a brilliant trade that they had with Dallas, even though Dallas kind of had that caveat on the back end where he couldn't do any deals with any NFC East teams or he'd get money voided out of his contract or something. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you got to keep. If he's healthy, he's one of the best players in football. But he wasn't. And what are the 2 tenets we always preach on this show? Availability and reliability. And I'll tell you what. So I'm interested. So obviously, since these 2 are division rivals, they face each other twice every single year. And this year was no exception. But here's the funny thing: these 2 teams didn't face each other until week 14. And in week 14, the Packers won 28-21. And then you fast forward to week 16. The Bears beat the Packers at home in overtime 22-16. And then at the end now you got this shootout, this absolute collapse by the Green Bay Packers, and the Bears get away 31-27. Why don't we take a quick look at the team stats for each of these 3 games? So as quick as we can. Week 14, they were total yards. They were pretty much even, 315 to 337, advantage Green Bay. 220 passing yards for Green Bay, 177 passing yards for the Bears. But the Bears had the more rushing yards, 138 to 117. And the Bears had the ball more. So and if we take a look at time of possession, really throughout the entire series, it's kind of been back and forth. It's so weird that the team with the better time of possession ended up losing in the regular season, but when it really counted, the Bears had the ball for 32 minutes and 41 seconds. And they ended up, coming away with the win. And those 25 points in the fourth quarter, I mean, we were just sitting there in Tyler's man cave, just absolutely going bananas, just watching this team. And really, this is Ben Johnson's bread and butter. This is how Ben Johnson made a name for himself in Detroit. This is how Ben Johnson kind of, stamped his card to tell Chicago, hey, I'm a head coach. If you want to look at, how Ben Johnson became a head coach, a legitimate head coach in this league, just look at this game. Yeah,
I mean, look, they lost the turnover battle, but they still won the whole thing. And if you look at time of possession, like you said, 32 minutes to 27 minutes. And another thing that I think is worth mentioning, 2, not 1, but 2 missed field goals for the Green Bay Packers. That they sink those field goals, we might be having a different conversation. They were 0 for 2 on field goals. Meanwhile, the Bears were 3 for 3. So
yeah, and that may be attributed to maybe there were bad conditions out there. Maybe it was windy out there because again, they are in Chicago and it is the Windy City.
Yeah.
So it's definitely kickers these days, whether it's poor Tyler Loop for the Baltimore Ravens or. In this case, who's kicking for the Packers? Give me 2 seconds. Brandon McManus, who used to be, the former Denver Bronco, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
and
sir.
so he's kind of fallen off a cliff lately because he was usually Mr. Automatic in Denver, but
last little bit he's had a case of the yips, if anybody recalls. I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing to see, like such a great kicker. I mean, he's one of the best power kickers in the history of the league because, like, if you recall, McManus for a while there was sinking, 60 plus yarders, like, he was Brandon Aubrey. So here we are now, and he's, like I said, he's got a case of the yips. He's a little scattershot, and hopefully the Packers will be able to reel it in.
That's some kind of disease. That's a disease you do not want to have in this league.
No,
not at all.
Not the yips.
Not the yips.
Not in this league. But at the end of the day, the Bears, they go out and beat the Green Bay Packers. They advance to the divisional round. They'll be taking on the Rams. Next up, let's talk about the Bills and the Jags. Another barn burner of a game. I keep using that term because, man, it is the truth. We were watching this game. We were messaging each other during this game. This thing was wild. Josh Allen, man, putting on the Superman cape, 28 for 35, 273 and a touchdown. He also had the rushing touchdown, the big tush-push rushing touchdown where he basically got thrown basically 11 yards down the field for a TD.
It was insane. It was absolutely insane. That's the whole team basically going, no. We're not losing in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, and the Jags were, it was a stunner. The Jags had control of this game for quite some time, and Trevor Lawrence was phenomenal right till basically the end. 18 for 30, 207 yards. He had 3 touchdowns, but then he goes out and throws the 2 interceptions.
Including the game ender. Yep.
Travis Etienne, 10 carries for 67 yards. Bashal rootin' tootin', man. 4 carries for 51, man. He had a 12.8 average on the day, which is worth noting. But Parker Washington, 7 for 107 and a touchdown. Travis Etienne, 5 receptions for 49 and a touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr., who, man, so underutilized in this Liam Cohen system.
Yes.
From one year to the next, it's been like night and day. This guy has just been underutilized his entire time dealing with Liam Cohen. I don't understand it. It's just baffling to me.
One would hope though that with that touchdown in this performance, maybe Liam Cohen will get the light bulb to go over his head and go, hey, wait a minute, this guy was an absolute menace at rookie last year. He was one of our top rookies throughout the year of 2024, 2025, and that the fact that he hasn't been, he hasn't been that productive this year, let's take a quick look at his stats. Brian Thomas Jr. If we go to the stats for 2025, he had 14 games played. He had out of 14 games played, he had 48 catches for 707 yards, 2 touchdowns. The longest was 46.
That's a steep drop off for a guy that broke 1,000 yards last year.
Yes,
that's a big drop off. I mean, he broke 1,000 yards. He was one of the best receivers in football last year, and now it's just pedestrian. I don't understand how you have a first-round receiver who's coming off such just a tremendous year last year, and you just waste him.
It makes no sense.
And so, I understand there's a head coaching change, and it's kind of a team and scheme type of situation, but golly, you drafted this guy first round. Yeah. You saw what he can do. you saw how efficient he is. You saw how good he can be. And here we are.
Yeah. I mean, honest to goodness, though, this was such a back and forth game that it literally was anyone's game at any point, and I think this game had a ton of lead changes. And the funny thing is this isn't the game that had the most lead changes in NFL history for a postseason game.
And even in spite of the loss for the Jaguars, one thing I think is worth noting is James Cook only had 46 yards on 15 carries in this game. They held James Cook and the number one rushing attack in the entire NFL. They held James Cook to 46 yards. That's worth noting. I mean, Josh Allen, he had 11 carries, but he only had 33 yards on those. He only had a 3 average. Yes, Josh Allen ran in 2 touchdowns, and we've seen this before. Josh Allen with the Superman cape. Here we are, right?
Right. But at the end of the day, the passing game is what did the Jaguars in. And Khalil Shakir, I mean, he's been the number 2 receiver, and kind of been hot and cold, bought and sold. But he's had 12 catches for 82 yards in this game. And many, many times his number was called out by the announcers as having made yet another stunning catch. Brandon Cooks getting 3 for 58. Like we said before, Brandon Cooks has been a very serviceable receiver throughout his entire career. And then, Keenan Coleman gets the one big catch for 36 yards. So, this Buffalo Bills team does have more tricks up its sleeve, but they're gonna need everything but in the kitchen sink if they're gonna want to stand a chance against the Denver Broncos. I look at this game and I'm like, you know what? You got to go to Mile High as the 6th seed. Boy, I don't know.
This team they have their work cut out for them. That Broncos defense is legit. And the Jags defense hasn't been bad this year. Nope. They've actually had a pretty good defense. But, are they Denver?
No.
I don't think they're Denver. I think Denver is way better than what the Jags have. But, man, I'm looking at it and I'm like, look at this situation here. I mean, the Bills don't have a true number 1 receiver, and you think Khalil Shakir is going to be doing anything in that game against Pat Surtain?
No, sir.
I'm just saying this could get pretty ridiculous pretty quick. Buffalo is in trouble, and going to Mile High isn't going to help the situation. Man, you got to say, and also just on a lighter note on this whole thing, I want to say kudos to the reporter that was talking to Liam Cohen after that game. I thought that was just excellent. That was so nice. Hold your head up high. That's true. Little news from this game. Wide receiver Gabe Davis for the Bills. He suffers a torn ACL in this game.
Oh.
So,
no.
Yeah. Wide receiver Gabe Davis. I mean, torn ACL. That's where it is. I look, he's going to be out. It's a sad day.
Oh no.
Yeah, a very sad day for Gabe Davis. But the Bills, they weren't utilizing him like they had in the past. They really hadn't. So, is it a huge loss for them? No, it sucks. You don't like to see anybody get hurt, but is it a huge loss for the Bills? I mean, I'd be lying if I said I felt like it was. But the Buffalo Bills, I mean, they're going to go on and take on the number 1 seeded Denver Broncos. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the 49ers and the Eagles. The 49ers somehow. Yeah, I don't know how, and I'm not going to ask. But all I'm going to say is 23-19, Niners over Eagles. Brock Purdy with a game-winning drive to seal the deal here. You got to love what Brock...
Sorry, I couldn't help but laugh.
Yeah, and tight end George Kittle in this game, even without George Kittle, who suffered a torn Achilles in this game early. So George Kittle out for the rest of the year. Still, at the end of the day, the Niners pulled this one out without their best player on the field, not named McCaffrey. I mean, that's worth noting here.
Oh, 100%. I mean, let's go through these numbers. Brock Purdy, had pretty good stats. He went 18 for 31 for 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and Juwan Jennings threw a really pretty 29-yard touchdown pass to, I believe it was
McCaffrey.
To Christian McCaffrey, because that man, I'll tell you what, he is built different.
Yeah. He is. Christian McCaffrey, he has been, I mean, we all thought he was washed, right? We sat here going, oh, he's done. He's so washed. And
that Achilles tendonitis, and that Achilles tendonitis is going to screw with you. Well, but no, I guess not. We're back in the divisional round.
Yeah, not him. I mean, they were battling for the the division title 2 weeks ago. I mean, he doesn't give a shit. But Brock Purdy, 18 for 31, 262, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Demarcus Robinson, by the way, out of nowhere. This is one of those games. We talked about it before. We were talking about it. Demarcus Robinson just pops up on the stat sheet randomly. He's just kind of there. The former Kansas City Chief, 6 receptions, 111 yards and a touchdown. Like, where did Demarcus Robinson come from?
Hey, stay tuned, kids. There's another player that we haven't heard from in a hot minute that decided to have a breakout game.
Yeah, and then Christian McCaffrey, 6 receptions, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyle Juszczyk, 4 for 49. Juwan Jennings, 1 for 45. I mean, it was a hell of a game. Brock Purdy spread the ball out nicely. He extended plays. He did his job. Meanwhile, for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, 20 for 35, 168 and a touchdown. Just more pedestrian offense. The good news for them was that Saquon Barkley got going, 26 carries, 106 yards. He had a 4.1 average on the day. Dallas Goedert also had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown in this game. So we got to see both those. Goddard got the rushing touchdown on a tush push at the 1. But look, and Devontae Smith, 8 receptions for 70 yards. A.J. Brown just 3 for 25. We got to talk about A.J. Brown, though, because during this game, he got into it in a nasty spat with Nick Sirianni on the sidelines. It was something else.
It was bad. And you know what? And this was coming after, he had a lot of key drops in this football game.
Especially on that last drive. That last drive, he dropped one. I mean, that was huge. It was a 3rd down, if I'm not mistaken. He drops. It's like, come on, man! You're one of the highest paid receivers in all of football.
And you're reaching Terrell Owens levels of diva here too.
Oh, yeah.
So people are getting sick of your nonsense in that regard. I'm always open. Oh well, yeah, you are, but you got to catch the damn ball.
Yeah, and Sirianni, to his credit, he's defended A.J. Brown, but I see a trade looming here. You get a guy who has caused as much ruckus, and that's what it is. It's ruckus.
Yep.
He caused as much ruckus as he did this year, whether it was, I want more catches. I want more passes thrown my way. I'm not getting the ball enough. And then he goes out and gets into this shit, when he's getting into the pissing match with Sirianni on the sidelines, and then all the diva stuff, as you said.
Yeah, last year he's sitting on the sidelines reading a book, and it became a meme.
Yeah. It's high time that A.J. Brown kind of hits the dusty trail, and I got to tell you, I think a trade is looming here. I think the Eagles are going to send him out the door. I think they're done with his BS, and they're going to go, hey, man, hey, New Orleans. That's right now. People are almost anticipating that the New Orleans Saints are going to trade for A.J. Brown. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit. It really wouldn't, because of not just the fact that the Saints need a receiver, but it's also the fact that there's a connection there between Kellen Moore, who is the former offensive coordinator for the Eagles, and A.J. Brown. They won a Super Bowl together. So I think that would be beneficial to the Saints. And I think they could probably, because of A.J. Brown's contract, because of his age, they could probably get him on a cheap deal. You could probably, A.J. Brown's almost 30 years old. I think he's 29. So, hey, make the move. If you're the New Orleans Saints and you have an opportunity to go out and get a compliment to Chris Olave, who quietly also had a really great season, Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
you gave a 1A, 1B situation.
Right. I mean, New Orleans is picking 8th in the draft, thanks to our fine friends at Tankathon. So on the one hand, I can't see them trading the number 8 pick for AJ Brown.
No.
But you could easily give him a second or a third. I mean, that's reasonable. A second round pick is nothing to sneeze at, especially if it's a early second round.
Right.
You can absolutely.
I mean, if I could get a second round pick for AJ Brown, I'm taking it. And frankly, given the circumstances of AJ Brown and all the diva shit, and I know people are kind of down on him, but if I had the opportunity to trade for AJ Brown, I'm not giving up a first, and because it's an early second, I'm probably not even giving up a second. I could see AJ Brown going for like a third and a fifth. And a lot of times that's kind of been the market for a lot of different players. Who knows, what in the hell that the Eagles are going to be asking. But and the other thing about the AJ Brown situation is things got even more interesting in Philly because the Eagles are firing their offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, or as we like to call him, Kevin Patui. We don't like him. That guy, he was terrible this year. The Eagles say they're parting ways with him, which is basically a nice way of saying they're shit canning him. I mean, let's be real. And after just one season. So maybe this is a situation where, they try and make AJ Brown happy in a way. I could possibly see that being the situation. Maybe they're like, well, we don't want to lose AJ. We better go find a different offensive coordinator. But there's questions. Yeah, I got questions here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. At this point, the Eagles are not who we thought they were. Definitely not rolling into the season, but halfway through, we were sitting there going,
Yeah. We had questions there as far as that goes, but about who the Eagles are and who the Eagles are going to be, and moving into the postseason, we always the Eagles are the Eagles going to turn into the Eagles that we've seen the last couple of years, where their offense was so good, and it's no, they did not turn into the Eagles of yesteryear, and that's just basically what it turned into. They did not turn into those Eagles. Their defense was great. Yep. Which is why they're retaining their defensive coordinator. Their defense was phenomenal. It's the offense that continuously seemed to screw them, and here we are. So,
now, lightning round pop quiz. Is this partly Jalen Hurts' fault?
It could be, but why? Here's the number that gets me. Mm-hmm. Jalen Hurts last year, his bread and butter has been sort of being like a makeshift Lamar, where he can run and extend plays with his legs and whatever else. I look over and I see Jalen Hurts throwing the ball 35 times a game, and he only ran 5 times for 14 yards. A lot of what Jalen Hurts got done was design runs. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of design runs. It was a lot of pass read options. It was there were a lot of option plays there. There were a lot of, hey, I'm going to stand in the shotgun, fake the handoff to the running back, and I'm going to take off over this way. So there's issues here with the offensive coordination.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why they fired him, because you basically took a running quarterback and tried to turn him into a passer, and you kind of exposed him. Do you think he got exposed?
I would say so. I think he got exposed as a guy who is Jalen Hurts does his best work in sort of a mixed offense situation. And they didn't do that. They had Saquon Barkley. He ran the ball 26 times for 106 yards. That's great. He had a 4.1 average, which is a little okay. But there's a little bit of trickery, that comes with a Jalen Hurts type. There's things that you do to unlock that talent, and they didn't do that in this situation. So shame on Kevin Patullo here.
Shame.
Shame. But as for the Niners, hey, they've got a tough matchup coming up here. They're going to be taking on the Seattle Seahawks, but also the good news for them, linebacker Fred Warner, he hasn't ruled out returning to the field on Saturday versus the Seahawks. He did return to practice after the ankle injury that landed him on IR. So we're going to be seeing the possibility of Fred Warner returning to the field, which is exciting. And we're going to talk about the Seahawks here real quick because wouldn't you know it, they've got a problem. And the problem is that quarterback Sam Darnold is now listed as questionable versus the 49ers due to an oblique injury. So, what did he say? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
oh, no. Yeah.
Listen, here. I mean, I don't know if this is just the Seahawks trying to make the 49ers sweat. I don't know if this is just a bluff move, but if there is a legitimate problem with Sam Darnold at this stage of the offseason, there is not just a Sam Darnold problem. There is a strength and conditioning problem, and there is a player management problem.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
You basically have the NFC title handed to you on a silver platter with one of the best defenses in football and a resurgence in Sam Darnold, and all of a sudden your quarterback is got a blown tire. Whatever it is.
And it's an oblique, so I mean, it basically.
It's a side, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, man, that's going to be tough. You're going to. Who are they going to trot out there? You know, that becomes the question of the day.
Do you seriously go to Jalen Milroe in this situation?
That might be where they go. I mean, they drafted the guy. It's just this is crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Do you go Jalen Milroe or do you go Drew Lock? Is Drew Lock still playing for him?
Well, I don't even think Drew Lock is there anymore. I'd have to look, but I mean, I would assume that it would be Jalen Milroe. I think Milroe would probably be the guy at that point, but it's just a crazy turn of events.
Do you honestly expect to trot out an untried rookie quarterback at, I don't know if this is year 2 or his rookie year. Do you honestly trot out? He is a rookie.
He's a rookie.
You're gonna trot a rookie quarterback out against this 49ers team? I mean, it's a crapshoot. Your defense needs to be on high alert here, because I guarantee you, if you don't have Sam Darnold, that defense is going to be the one to take you to the NFC title game. If at all.
I mean, that's the only way. That's the only way. Sam Darnold has played lights out this year. This is like one of those unfortunate situations where it's like you're hurt now, and then for Sam Darnold, let's not forget, this is a guy on a prove-it contract. So, he got $35 million guaranteed for his first year, but then his next 2 years at $35 million, they're not guaranteed for him. So this is a guy where we're like, could this be the situation where the Seahawks are like, well, you weren't healthy for us when we needed you the most, so up yours. Here we are.
Well, this is a what have you done for me lately league. It always has been, and unfortunately, it always will be. So time will tell.
Yep, we're going to find out what happens with Sam Darnold. Next up, let's talk about the New England Patriots beating the LA Chargers 16-3. Justin Herbert, 19 for 31 for 159 yards in this game. He got the hell beat out of him. And
he sure did.
Look, there was nothing that he could do. The Patriots just swarmed him this whole game. Meanwhile, Drake May, 17 for 29, a touchdown and a pick. Drake May also had 10 carries for 66 yards. Ramondre Stevenson, 10 for 53. Stevenson also had 3 receptions for 75 yards in this one. Hunter Henry scores the lone touchdown. It was 3 receptions for 64 and a TD. Look, Drake May, he did not play well in this game. It's worth noting that the defense did extremely well. The Chargers defense did extremely well in this game, believe it or not. I mean, they gave up 16 points for all of the opportunity that the Chargers offense was giving the New England Patriots offense by going 3 and out over and over again. I mean, you see just this collapse. I mean, the Patriots.
and Omarion Hampton, the rookie, rushes one time for -1 yards. So, thanks for coming. Lad McConkey gets 3 for 32 catches. Arondre Gadsden II also gets 3 for 30. Keenan Allen, 3 for 25. I mean, whoop-de-doo. You basically get, less than 100 yards between 3 of your top receivers. And, you got 11 sacks total, 6 on Justin and 5 on Drake May. So, it was sack lunch city. So you could absolutely say that this was a defensive struggle. And Drake May just figured out how to, get the ball in the end zone more effectively than the Chargers did. This is kind of a sad thing, and I think Justin Herbert got hurt in this game, did he not?
Yes, he did. And the other thing about it, so the Chargers, they were so pissed off after losing this game, they actually went out and fired offensive coordinator Greg Roman, which is very surprising given the circumstances. I think this is a silly move. Justin Herbert just had one of the best years of his career. Statistically, he was phenomenal this year. I mean, he beat the Kansas City Chiefs in week 1, dominated the Chiefs in week 1. He was great. And mind you, Justin Herbert was winning football games when Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater both went on the shelf. Mm-hmm. And he was still winning football games. Greg Roman did well with what he had. I just think this is a really silly knee-jerk reaction to this loss to get rid of Greg Roman. I don't agree with this decision. Do you?
No, I don't. And honestly, this could just be a bad general manager decision, a bad, owner decision. The Chargers haven't exactly been organization of the year for the last several years. They're not the New York Jets and they're not the New York Giants, but the Chargers organization has kind of been these past several years, and these records and these playoff appearances and playoff losses kind of show it, unfortunately. Yeah. And these decisions, and Greg Roman's kind of the icing on the cake right now. Hey, Brad, you mind giving Greg Roman a call? I mean, he's on the table.
I mean, if I'm the Lions, I'm thinking about Greg Roman. I really am, because he is a really, really good offensive coordinator. I'd be calling him up in a heartbeat. Speaking of the Lions, we got some news about them coming up here. But let's go ahead and talk. Oh, and real quick, before we get off the topic of the Chargers, edge rusher Khalil Mack is now contemplating retirement, heading into free agency. So, I mean, he was contemplating it last year. Here we are again. He's contemplating it again. We'll find out what happens with Khalil Mack.
I am putting the money line at 250, and the odds favorite is he stays. If he retires, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, he could very well stay, but he's been contemplating it for a bit, so we're going to have to kind of wait and see. I think he's kind of waiting for the coaching situation to kind of reveal itself as far as offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and so on and so forth, because his defensive coordinator right now is out there interviewing for head coaching jobs. So, I mean, there we are. Yep. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about these Houston Texans. Last but not least, they go out and dominate the Pittsburgh Steelers 30-6. Yeah, 30-6. It was a close game for a minute, and you went into halftime. We're talking about a 10-3 game for Houston, and then Houston just blows the doors off. Fourth quarter, 23 unanswered points, pick sixes, fumble recoveries. I mean, you name it, just beating on Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers struggled in this game. So did C.J. Stroud, though. I mean, he fumbled a bunch. He threw a pick. There's a pick six, if I'm not mistaken. But they still got it done, and that's kind of how the Texans have been getting it done all year. It's been on the back of their defense. And by the way, Woody Marks, 19 carries for 112 and a touchdown.
Jaquavius Woody Marks.
Yep, and kudos to Christian Kirk, man. He had one of those games where Christian Kirk just pops up out of nowhere, 8 receptions, 144 and a touchdown. I'm like, where was Christian Kirk this whole time? But he just blows up in this game. Gotta love it. And a lot of it probably had to do with the fact that Nico Collins did suffer a concussion in this game. So, that's kind of concerning if you are the Texans going into next week. Nico Collins did suffer a concussion. So we're going to find out. I know he's probably in protocol right now. We're going to find out if he's going to wind up playing this weekend. Hopefully, for their sake, he is. Otherwise, you could see a lot more work out of Christian Kirk and Jaden Higgins and Xavier Hutchinson, for that matter, this upcoming week. But the Texans, they go out and dominate. In the meantime, Aaron Rodgers currently is considering his retirement. But the big news came out yesterday. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, he steps down as the Steelers head coach after 19 seasons. Yeah, just incredible. Incredible. I was
this is the end of an era, straight up. I mean, this is this is earth-shattering news. I mean, how often have we seen the Steelers and the Ravens at war in the NFC North? And they were two. John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin are two of the longest tenured coaches in the NFL. And in fact, Mike Tomlin is the longest tenured head coach with one team, with the Steelers. Yeah. So, a legendary career. I mean, it's sad to see that you basically made a living out of, you had one Super Bowl with Jerome Bettis. You got Jerome Bettis his ring, props to that. No, wait, that was Cowher, wasn't it?
That was Cowher, yeah.
That was Cowher, but then you go up against Kurt Warner in the Super Bowl, and Santonio Holmes makes that toe-tapping catch. That's where it was. That's so Mike Tomlin gets a ring, so good on you. But I absolutely, one of the glue that held the team together. Absolutely, during its high years and during its low years. Time will tell if Mike Tomlin will be a coach again in the NFL. Part of me would think he would retire. I don't really. It'd be hard. It's hard for me to see Mike Tomlin go to another NFL team. But stranger things have happened in this league.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Mike Tomlin, I think he kind of understood that the Steelers' job wasn't exactly a desirable one. If you look at what was going on with the Steelers' current situation, their defense is old as dirt. I mean, they have an old defense. You got an aging defense, a lot of old veterans there, a lot of guys that are going to be retiring, a lot of holes to fill there. You got a quarterback situation. You don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. You need a number 2 receiver because Calvin Austin ain't it. There's a lot going on there in Pittsburgh that it's like maybe this isn't the time to stick around. And Mike Tomlin, to his credit, for years has been making a chicken salad out of chicken shit, right? I mean, he's been doing it all to make this thing work. Winning season after winning season. We're talking. All kinds of playoff appearances and whatever else. And now, he's like, all right, that's enough. We've had a bunch of 1 and outs. Some people feel like he was forced out. I mean, and that might be the case too. We don't know. But I mean, they just said, all right, we'll let you go out with your dignity and say that you're leaving. But I mean, was it time? Who knows? We'll see. But at the end of the day, Mike Tomlin isn't going to be coaching the Steelers, and the Steelers won't be in the playoffs. As for the Texans, they move on. They've got a showdown with the New England Patriots. And I got to tell you, I think it's a really winnable game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Another thing that's worth noting about the Steelers after this game, wide receiver Adam Thielen did retire after 13 seasons. He lost that love in Thielen. And
he sure did.
He decides to go home. Kudos to him on a great career. He made a lot of money. And, here it is. Adam Thielen, good for him. Congratulations on a great career.
Come to the end of the road. Adam had to let go. No more Pro Bowls, no more Super Bowls, only ice cream bowls. Oh.
This is terrible. This is terrible.
Hey, Boots couldn't make it this week, so I had to do something.
Well, I'll give you one of these just as way to go, buddy. I'm very proud of you. But at the end of the day, the Adam Thielen, gotta love it. He had himself a hell of a career, so good for him. And those are our scores, by the way, for the wild card weekend. We've got a few news stories to go on around the league. First of all, let's go ahead and talk about some of these coaching hires, other coaches getting hired here. John Harbaugh gets hired on as the new head coach of the New York Giants.
Whoa.
Yeah, baffling.
I think, okay, let me do this one.
What did he say?
Because I have two schools of thoughts on this. Number one, you're going to the New York Giants.
Yeah, listen.
But on the other hand, and you'll probably get more detailed on this, the Giants really have a whole lot of pieces in place. They got a quarterback, they got a running back, they got one of the best defenses in the league. I don't know about the best defense, but it's pretty stout.
Yeah, I mean, the front seven's fantastic. Their front seven is man, you're talking about Sexy Dexy. You're over here talking about Kayvon Thibodeau. You're over here talking about, I think Brian Burns is over there right now. I mean, you've got a lot of good pieces. They need secondary, like
bad.
It's going out of style, but you need a secondary. I like Wan'Dale Robinson as a wide receiver too, but I think that you need a real true playmaker wide receiver over there to complement Malik Neighbors, who is going to be coming off of an ACL tear. Let's not forget.
Right.
But they do have a good tight end in Theo Johnson, who under the Harbaugh system, I could see him unlocking Theo Johnson, which could turn out great for the Giants. We're going to find out. But this is a good situation for John Harbaugh. We'll see if he can be successful over there. It's very difficult to be successful with the New York Giants the way that they've been in recent memory, but we're going to find out.
Maybe John Harbaugh is the shot in the arm they need.
That it's possible. And also we've got some general manager moves that are being made. First of all, the Dolphins, they go out and hire former Packers Vice President of Player Personnel, John Eric Sullivan, as their new general manager. Look, to the credit of John Eric Sullivan, the Packers have been one of the better personnel teams in probably the last decade, maybe even 15 years. They transition well into different quarterbacks, in spite of how pissy, Aaron Rodgers got with, the Jordan Love move, and how pissy Brett Favre got with the Aaron Rodgers draft. At the end of the day, they transition really well. They get rid of the old pieces. They bring in the new pieces. They do it effectively. They train their guys up. They do the right things. I think this could turn out to be a good move for them. The one that really caught my eye, though, is the Packers hire former quarterback Matt Ryan as their new president of football.
Packers or the Falcons?
Or the Falcons. The Falcons go out and hire Matt Ryan.
Because I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know.
But no, seriously though, this is interesting news.
Yeah, it's interesting news. Obviously, they went and fired their general manager, so they're replacing everything. It's a complete reconfiguration from the top down. I mean, it's like, hey, we got rid of our president of football operations. We went and got rid of our general manager. We went and got rid of Raheem Morris as our head coach. And here we are, so the Falcons are just wiping the slate clean in the front office and in the coaching department. We're going to see what happens with this team. They've got a lot of good pieces in place, but they got work to do, and they got to figure out who their quarterback is. Is it Michael Penix, who I would tend to think is going to be the guy, or is it Kirk Cousins, or are you drafting a new one? Are you not sold on Penix? What's the story? We're going to find out, but it starts with Matt Ryan. So get ready for that. Also, the Cardinals did announce this week that they are retaining GM Monty Ossenfort. That's after they fired head coach Jonathan Gannon. So Gannon's out the door, but they're retaining their GM Ossenfort. We'll see what turns out with that, but going to be wild. Also, the Bengals announced that they're retaining the services of their director of player personnel, Duke Tobin. I don't know how much I like that, given how much they've invested in the offense, but absolutely refuse to invest in their defense or offensive line in any way, shape, or form.
Right. And the fact that they kept Zach Taylor around, I mean, that's still baffling too.
It seems silly. I don't understand why Zach Taylor.
Yeah, why Zach Taylor? You know what the definition of insanity is? Trying the exact same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Zach Taylor made a Super Bowl a few years ago, and He's been riding that through all of these losing seasons and these bad years and these quarterback injuries due to his bad offensive line play and the bad defensive play. He's been riding the fact that he was in a Super Bowl. That's it.
Makes sense to me.
As a head coach, he went and brought the Bengals to a Super Bowl, and that's the only reason he's still around. If that didn't happen, he'd be gone. If it was anything less, if he only took them to the AFC title game and lost that, he'd be gone. But it's just the fact that he won an AFC championship. That's the only reason that Zach Taylor still has a job, as far as I'm concerned.
And jog my memory if you can, but didn't Patrick Mahomes throw an interception in that AFC title game to seal the deal for the Bengals?
I believe so. I think it was Eli.
Yeah. So who's really responsible for that?
Yeah.
If you want to poke the bear, I guess.
Yeah. But what's funny is that Lou Anarumo, who was the defensive coordinator for that Bengals team that went to the Super Bowl, they wound up firing him like the next year, and he went and became the defensive coordinator for the Colts. So I mean, like, it's Lou Anarumo was another one making chicken salad out of chicken shit, because the defense for the Bengals, they didn't have anything. Like as far as a personnel perspective, this whole time there, it was like, what? Eli Apple is going to be your number 2 corner. That's your big play. And they made it work. I don't know how, but they made it work. So, but at the end of the day, the Cincinnati Bengals retaining their GM. Also, the Commanders. This one's going to kind of set an alarm off to you. The Commanders go out and promote assistant quarterback coach David Blau to their offensive coordinator situation. David Blau, if you remember, former Detroit Lions quarterback, played a game on Thanksgiving, if you remember.
Yep.
But new quarterback, or is their quarterback coach. He's the new offensive coordinator for the Commanders. Interesting.
If memory serves me right, I also think David Blau, for a hot minute, was a coach on the Detroit sideline. I think he might have been their QB coach. I'm not sure. I just thought I remembered something about that. But yeah, that's very interesting. So
yeah, it's. I never thought David Blau, would be an offensive coordinator, but I mean, hey, leave it to the Commanders. I mean, they're promoting from within, so it's a guy that kind of understands what Dan Quinn wants to roll with. He kind of, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, as you know, stepped out the door, so he's no longer the offensive coordinator for the Commanders. So it's like, okay, like at least he kind of has an understanding of what they're doing over there, right?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with Jaden Daniels. But again, if he's healthy, he can be a great quarterback. But if he gets injured again, and whose fault would that be? Would that be the offensive line that didn't protect him? Would that be the GM office that didn't, give him an offensive line to protect Jaden Daniels? Or is Jaden Daniels injury prone?
That's going to be the big question of the day. Speaking of the Lions general manager Brad Holmes says that the team will have, quote unquote, conversations about the possibility of trading running back David Montgomery. What's the over under on Montgomery remaining a Lion this year, Alex, especially with all the cap issues?
Listen, if you got $100 million wrapped up in like 6 players, I think Monty's going.
I do too.
Could you at least get a second rounder for him? He's getting old. Yeah, he is getting older. He's like in his 30s now or late 20s. He really was effective in Detroit, and he had some success in Chicago. So he's an asset. If you need somebody to duct tape your running game together. I can't believe I'm saying that about Monty, but here we are. But but at the same time, it's like the Detroit Lions have to make hard decisions over the next couple of months, because of all that cap. Maybe the salary cap might rise a little bit at the end of the year, but you're going to have to make these hard decisions. And really, Monty's probably going to get traded out the door. Get something for him. That's all I'm asking. Get something for him.
They'll get something. I just don't know that it's going to be anything worth, being super excited about. I mean, if they trade him, you're talking a 5th, 6th rounder. I think it'll save the cap room, but I don't think you're going to be talking about anything crazy. It's going to be a late day 3 pick for a guy his age with his contract, running back. He's kind of a body blows type of running back. Depends on which team wants him, but who knows? Who knows? Also, for the Vikings, head coach Kevin O'Connell, GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, they say they are looking to add depth and competition to the Vikings quarterback room during the offseason. I think the J.J. McCarthy experiment is over with. I think that they know that the J.J. McCarthy experience is over with. I think they're getting ready to move on from J.J. McCarthy, whether it's in this draft or whether it's, picking up a free agent. There's going to be a move. They know now after this season, I think the Vikings, I think these two guys, they're well aware that they've hitched their wagon to the wrong guy. Like we've been saying all along, we told everybody, this guy isn't it. I think they know that now. And I think that they're like, all right, we got to make a move to save our jobs because their jobs are on the line. They're tightening the vice grip on their balls here. Yeah,
you're the one doing the tightening. You've been doing it for several years. I mean, how often on this show for the past 3 or 4 years have you called for Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's head?
Well, and there's one reason, and here's why.
You having an unnatural allegiance to losers is not like you.
Exactly. That's why, Kwesi. You have an unnatural allegiance to losers, and it's not like you, period. I mean, that's what it is. Tell them, Kat. That's what you balked on Bo Nix and traded up for J.J. McCarthy.
Right. And the year before, you traded down with a divisional rival when Kyle Hamilton was staring you in the face, and we ended up getting Jamison Williams. And who'd you pick up in the 32nd pick? Lewis Cine? Huh?
Yeah.
Big dummy.
And I'm being told that I gotta watch more tape because I knew Lewis Cine was a bust. I'll never forget that. I will never let Vikings Twitter live that one down. That
is it's a running gag on this show. We bring it up once in a blue moon, and it's great. Well, it's funny now.
Oh my God! Looking back on it, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally just need to watch more tape, huh? Like, give me a fucking break. But in any case,
I do have one more thing to add about the Detroit Lions. I heard around the rumor mill that the Lions have requested an interview with former Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. And when that news hit the wire, my initial reaction was, oh no! For God's sakes, do not hire this man.
Do not.
Do not.
Do not. Like, it is a waste. Please, God, no. Don't. It's just
hearing that from.
Hell no.
And hearing that from you, of all people, Mr. Fraytown, despite the fact that if we did hire Arthur Smith, you would cackle like the Wicked Witch of the West. But
it would be hilarious,
right? But I mean, it would be like a cherry on top of incompetence. It's like I can't imagine Dan Campbell working side by side with this guy, and that power run scheme that he has no idea what to do with number one receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown would be an afterthought.
Exactly. I mean, to me. And the Lions have reached out, according to several reports. They've reached out to Mike McDaniel, which I think makes the most sense. I think that would make a terrifying offensive room for Detroit, especially with his passing attack that he's shown off on several occasions in Miami. He's got a speedster in Jamison Williams. He's got a possession guy in Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got a good quarterback in Jared Goff that throws the ball effectively. You got a good, I'm not going to say they have a real good offensive line, and we're going to be talking about offensive tackles here in today's prospects, which, Alex, I know you're going to be really excited about. And I got one that I think the Detroit Lions should be staring down. But, at the end of the day, it's McDaniel makes the most sense, not Arthur Smith. I don't understand the logic. As for other news around the league, We've got one other thing about the Vikings here. Wide receiver Jordan Addison, he gets arrested for trespassing in Tampa, Florida. Just dumb stuff. Dummy. Addison was arrested early Friday morning in Tampa, Florida, charged with probable cause misdemeanor trespassing, according to Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. There we go. According to the inmate arrest details, Seminole Indian Police arrested Addison at 3:46 a.m. with the arrest location listed as 5223 Orient Drive, the address of the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Tampa. He was booked at 7:33 a.m. He was released from custody at 2:40 p.m. after posting bail, which was a $500 cash bond. His exact charge was trespassing in an occupied structure or conveyance, and it's a level 1 misdemeanor. But at the end of the day, I'm done.
Yep.
I'm done. I'm done with Jordan Addison. Every year, every offseason, I'm talking about this guy driving 140 miles an hour down the freeway. I'm talking about this guy being passed out drunk in Las Vegas at a stoplight. I'm talking about now this guy getting in trouble for trespassing. I am done with Jordan Addison. It's time. It's time to trade him. It's time to move on. I am done.
Yep.
I'm every year the guy's suspended for three to 6 games because he's doing dumb shit in the offseason. It's gotten old. This is the 3rd year in a row that Jordan Addison has done something stupid in the offseason. He's getting himself in trouble. He's violating the league's policy here as it pertains to personal conduct. And he's going to end up getting suspended again over doing something so idiotic. I don't know.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Words are escaping him. And that's a feat.
When it comes down, like, and maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just one of those people. But if I was making millions of dollars, hey, Jordan, how about this? Go the fuck home. How about that? Go home. Nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m. Nothing. There is nothing good that ever happens. Go home. Like, is it that difficult? It blows my mind that it's that difficult that an athlete making this level of money, living his best life, can't find shit to do at home. I am just... How?
Especially in Florida. I mean, nothing good happens in Florida at 2 a.m.
No, go home. I don't get it. I just don't. It's just baffling to me. And then the guy's going to wind up, it's one of those things where it's like you're going to wind up losing your job because you're doing stupid stuff. And the coaching staff is just getting fed up with your bullshit. And the fans are too. I mean, Vikings Twitter saw this and just exploded. They said, I've had enough. Fans feel that way. The staff feels that way. I'm sure the coaching staff feels that way. Shit, I feel that way. I'm done. If you, as a multi-million-dollar athlete, can't just keep yourself out of harm's way and quit doing dumb shit, then you need to go elsewhere. Go to Vegas. That's where the dumb shit goes on. You want to do dumb shit, go to Vegas. Go play for the Raiders. I'm sure you'll have a miserable time over there. It's just baffling to me. Also, for the Cowboys, and I'm sure they're feeling the same way about this guy, defensive end Donovan Ezeraku, he gets arrested for reckless driving. Per The Athletic, he was released on the same day after posting a $500 bond with conditions per the jail records. Apparently at 11:54 p.m. on Sunday, a Texas State trooper allegedly noticed the vehicle being driven in a reckless manner in the southbound lanes of the Dallas North Tollway in Plano. The trooper initiated a traffic stop to investigate, which ultimately led to the arrest of the driver, the Texas Department of Public Safety wrote in a press release. The driver, Donovan Ezeraku of Frisco, Texas, was booked into the Collin County Jail for reckless driving, a Class B misdemeanor. This investigation is ongoing and no further comment or information is available at this time. The Cowboys declined to comment on the matter. Ezeraku's agent didn't respond to requests for comment. This is another one. Rookie player, young guy, got some money, doing dumb shit. How? Why? I don't understand.
You know, I think Stephen A. put it best a long time ago, and everybody has their opinions about that guy, but I think really, fellas, you've got to stay off the weed.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, we doing dumb shit.
Yeah, we gotta find that soundbite for the soundboard.
I'll find it. But I mean, it's just like, what are we doing? It's just so dumb. Also, the last piece of news here, and it's worth noting because the NFL draft is around the corner. Quarterback Dante Moore, he has opted to go back to Oregon for the 2026 season rather than enter the NFL draft. He probably looked right down at the draft order and said, "Do I really want to play for the New York Jets? And
do I really want to play for the Vegas Raiders?" The answer is no.
Yeah, hard pass on that. Hard pass. Also, the coaching carousel. The coaching carousel is in full swing.
Yes, sir.
Just to run down the list here. Cardinals have had interviews. They've requested one with Thomas Brown, the Patriots passing game coordinator. They scheduled one with Jeff Hafley, the Packers defensive coordinator. They've completed one with Vance Joseph, the Broncos defensive coordinator. They've scheduled one with Clint Kubiak. They've scheduled one with Raheem Morris. They've scheduled one with Robert Saleh. And they've also completed one with Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy. And they've scheduled one with Anthony Weaver, the Dolphins defensive coordinator. And they've requested Arthur Smith from the Steelers. I don't know why. As for the Falcons, their head coaching interviews, they've got Aiden Nerd, which is the Seahawks defensive coordinator. They completed that one. They've completed one with Ejiro Evero, who we love, the Panthers defensive coordinator. We've been big on him. Jeff Hafley, John Harbaugh, Clint Kubiak, Mike McDaniel, Kevin Stefanski, Anthony Weaver. They completed interviews with all of them. They have one scheduled with Antonio Pierce, the former Raiders head coach. So that one is ongoing. As for their GM interviews, they have interviewed Ian Cunningham, the Bears assistant GM. So they've requested one with him. Ravens head coaching interviews, they've requested ones with Joe Brady, Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator, who I'm very excited about. They've completed interviews with Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores. We knew he was going to be out there doing interviews. Vance Joseph, Cliff Kingsbury, the former Commanders offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, Matt Nagy, and Jim Schwartz, the Browns defensive coordinator. Good to see him getting back out there. And Anthony Weaver, the Dolphins defensive coordinator, and Davis Webb, the Broncos quarterback coach. Interesting. So he was a former NFL quarterback, if you recall. Browns head coaching interviews, they've completed ones with Aiden Nerd, Mike McDaniel, Todd Monken, the Ravens offensive coordinator, Dan Pitcher, the Bengals offensive coordinator, Tommy Reese, the Browns offensive coordinator, and Jim Schwartz and Grant Udinski, who's the Jaguars offensive coordinator. They've also requested Nate Scheelhaus, who's the passing game coordinator for the Rams. They've requested Jesse Minter. So they've got interviews set up. The Raiders, they've got Jeff Hafley scheduled, the Packers defensive coordinator. They've requested interviews with Jesse Minter, Nate Scheelhaus, Davis Webb, and then they've completed ones with Vance Joseph and Clint Kubiak. So they're quietly just making their way through. Dolphins, these ones are kind of interesting. Anthony Campanile, the Jaguars defensive coordinator, has been requested. Patrick Graham, the Raiders defensive coordinator, requested. I don't know why. Jeff Hafley, he's been completed. Clint Kubiak's been completed. Robert Saleh, the 49ers defensive coordinator, has been requested. Here's one for you, Alex. Kelvin Shepard, the Lions defensive coordinator, has been requested. Chris Shula, the Rams defensive coordinator, has been requested. And then they've completed one with Kevin Stefanski. Steelers head coaching interviews have gotten underway. Brian Flores has been requested. Jesse Minter's been requested. Nate Scheelhaus requested. Chris Shula requested. And Anthony Weaver. requested Titans head coaching interviews. Lou Anarumo, who we've talked about for the Colts defensive coordinator, he's been completed. They've scheduled one with former Giants head coach Brian Dable. So get ready for that. Jonathan Gannon, the former Cardinals head coach, has been requested. Jason Garrett, the former Cowboys head coach,
Mr. Claps himself.
Yeah, the clapper. Jeff Hafley, the Packers defensive coordinator, is scheduled. They've scheduled one with John Harbaugh, the former Ravens head coach, who since then has taken the how bad do you got to feel, by the way, if you're the Tennessee Titans in this situation? You scheduled an interview with Jim Harbaugh, and then before he even got there, he's like, screw the Titans. I'm going with the Giants. Like, you got to feel, you just finished dead last or second from last. Now.
Yeah, I think it calls for this soundbite.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. But the Titans, they walk out
So
like
you
this.
get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Yeah, that's basically what it turns into. But Vance Joseph, the Broncos defensive coordinator, I love that type of interview. Here's an interesting one. They're interviewing Mike McCarthy, the former Packers and Cowboys head coach. Also Mike McCoy, the Titans interim head coach, obviously getting his interview in. Mike McDaniel, Jesse Minter, Raheem Morris, the former Falcons head coach, getting an interview. Matt Nagy, Robert Saleh, Chris Shula, Arthur Smith, Steve Spagnuolo. That's one we haven't gotten to talk. Steve Spagnuolo, rather, the Chiefs defensive coordinator. One we haven't heard very much of, but he's a really good defensive coordinator. He has been for several years.
Wasn't Spagnuolo a head coach too at some point?
Yes, he was a former head coach as well. So, I mean, listen, he's a good defensive mind. Could be a good round for him. It might be high time for him to get out of Kansas City anyway. So get ready for that. Next up, let's jump into some of our prospects. That's our
here
news
we go.
around the league, by the way. Our prospects, we do this every year. We pull our top 5 prospects. We've got some interesting stuff. Obviously, I'm going to be doing my top 5. Alex is going to be pulling up some sleepers, and Boots is going a different route. He's going to be talking about skill position players. He's going to be going an old school 7-on-7 look. It's going to be super fun.
It kind of reminds me of that NFL street game that used to be out there a long time ago. Except that was 5-on-5.
Yeah, he's going to be doing this old school 7-on-7. He's going to be tackling all the skill position players, which means, Alex, that it's up to you and I to fill out the offensive lines, and that's what we're going to do.
Because, brother, I'll tell you this: it all starts up front.
Yes, it does. And so here's my Fraytown's top 5 as far as my offensive tackles for the upcoming draft. I'm starting out with Spencer Fano out of Utah. Listen, he's a beast. This guy's a road grader in the run game. He creates running lanes and he drives into the second level blocks. He reads, he recognizes and adjusts quickly to all these exotic blitzes and pass rushes and stunts. He recognizes defensive audibles. It's interesting to watch him react. He's got a real big punch coming off the line. He comes off, and I mean, he locks onto a defender too. So he punches, boom, and then grabs them. And they're not going anywhere. He's got a mean streak. He finishes every play strong, through the whistle, with intensity. He's nasty. And he's got the versatility to play both right tackle and left tackle, which I love. You need that in the NFL. We saw that with Joe Alt when he shifted over to left tackle for the Chargers this year when Rashawn Slater went down. So we know how important that is. So it's good to have. The cons on him: he does get a little antsy in pass protection. He gives up leverage with his punch. So he kind of like lunges forward to deliver that punch in pass protection and loses that leverage. Tape shows that he's got a tendency to get beat inside sometimes. Basically, he's overcommitting with his kick step as he's backing up into pass protection, getting ready to set an edge, and he just gets beat because the guys go, all right, well, thanks. And they have a direct lane to the quarterback on the inside, so they take it. He may need to develop more lower body strength. There is concerns about the weaker competition that he did play at Utah. But I like Spencer Fano a lot. I think he's an early first round guy. To me, he's top 10. I think you're talking about a top 10 pick. Teams need offensive tackles. I could definitely see him falling top 10. How about you?
Yeah, I wholeheartely agree. If we take a look at the guy, I mean, he's oh boy, he is 6'6", 302 pounds. So he's a big boy. Yeah. Well, you kind of need that. You kind of need that in an offensive lineman. So
the height is great. I'd like to see a little more functional mass. To be honest with you, a lot of these, at 302 pounds, a lot of these offensive tackles we're hitting 320, 330. We're going to be talking to a guy shortly that's 366 pounds. Ooh. I mean, like it's something, and it, at that. He almost comes off a little lanky in a way because he is so tall. We're talking 6'6", 302. So he might need to add a little, functional mass. But at the end of the day, I think he's still a stud. I think he comes out top 10. I think he's going to be great in this league.
Yeah, 100%. I think Pro Football Focus, if I'm not mistaken, had him on their big board for if we take a look at the offensive tackles. I mean, he's the top offensive tackle on the PFF big board at 17. So yeah. He's got an 84 overall PFF grade with 822 snaps played. He's 11th in the position. Last year he was first with a 92.6. Yeah. So he's good. He's really good.
He's a really good player, and on a lot of it, what's interesting is they're a little concerned about the competition that he played, but Absolutely. At the end of the day, Utah is known for getting big, nasty, road grading type of offensive linemen and tight ends, guys that can block, guys that are physical, guys that are nasty. I have no question about whether or not this guy's going to be great at the NFL level. He is going to be a franchise offensive tackle for somebody, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yep. Next up, let's talk about Francis Mauigoa from Miami. Dude, this guy's awesome too. He just drills opposing defenders with his punch, man. It's awesome. He's got a big, nasty, powerful lower body. Smooth hip movement. He allows for excellent mirroring. So when he gets into pass protection, his lateral movement is just silky smooth. I love it. Mm-hmm. It allows him to drive through opposing defenders with that lower body strength as well. He handles bull rushers with ease. He anchors. He immediately turns into like an immovable object in a way. Like they can't uproot him. He's a top tier run blocker in both zone and gap schemes. And while his punch is powerful, the hand placement with that punch is all over the map. Like he's just scattershot. It's all over the place. He needs to work on diagnosing. Yeah, it's like he throws it, and it's like some days he's on the money. Sometimes he wham right on the chest, and then other times he's like hitting the dude in the waist. I'm like, what is going on? He needs to work on diagnosing different blitz packages. He gets beat by stunts and delayed blitzes. That's a big problem for him. He does have a tendency to dive at opponents in pass protection. He gives up his leverage sometimes, and he's got to finish his blocks through the whistle more consistently. It's like, play through the whistle, get it done. But I do like this guy a lot. I do like Francis Mauigoa. The tape on him shows a stud. I do think he's a top 20 pick. He's a first rounder for sure. I think he's one of 3 first round offensive tackles. If you're picking any of the other offensive tackles outside of my top 3, I think that you're reaching a little bit, to be honest with you. But Mauigoa's first round guy, probably going in the top 20, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty safe assumption. Again, he's 6'6", 315 pounds. We'll see what he's like in the national championship game this coming Monday. They're going up against the Indiana Hoosiers, and I got something for you about that in a minute. But
a very tough Indiana Hoosiers defense, by the way. That pass rush for them is incredible. So this is going to be a real test. Yeah, this is going to be a real test for Mauigoa here. Mm-hmm. We're going to find out if he is legit the real deal.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Number 3 is a guy that I think should have just Detroit written all over him. That's Caden Proctor out of Alabama. This guy is 6'7", 366 pounds. Yeah, just a massive human being. As Gorilla Monsoon would say, he's a condominium with legs. I mean, this guy is giant. He's a dominant run blocker. He's got the capability to hit second-level blocks. He creates massive running lanes, and he just manhandles people. I mean, he just completely displaces them wherever he wants. It's crazy. His lateral movement for a man his size, it shouldn't be legal how well this guy moves. And when he connects with a punch, it's like watching the Incredible Hulk like punch a wall. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. The cons, while the size is great and he's able to manhandle guys, it does hurt him a little bit because the pad height is really high, so it gives up leverage. And if a defender gets inside, he gets a little grabby. It causes holding penalties. So he has a tendency to do that. He gets tired later in games. He's got to work on his conditioning a little bit. That's a nerve-wracking thing. And he's not as technically sound as preferred. He kind of relies on that just brute strength. He's a little raw in that department, but I still think he's a first-round offensive tackle. I still think he's a guy that I mean, given what he can do and given what the Lions like and the fact that Taylor Decker's going to retire probably, at least that's what it's sounding like. Mm-hmm. This guy might be your first rounder. What do you say? Yeah.
I mean, and if we want to sit here and talk about where he might be going, if we take a look at the big board, okay, of course I had the right thing up, and then of course I moved it. But you know, because like when we talk about these things, you know, he's trending. 30. It's interesting. Pro Football Focus has him mostly drafted by the Cleveland Browns at 31%, Houston Texans at 13%, and the Los Angeles Rams at 9%. 31% is pretty, like, it's gigantic. And if we take a look at with our fine friends at Tankathon, you know, the Cleveland Browns, unless I'm much mistaken, they're picking 6th in the draft. So, you know, they might be able to get their hands on him before Detroit can even sniff him. So I'm crossing my fingers that maybe something happens, but come on, Brad, come through Detroit. Yeah. But at the same time, you know, when you give me those statistics and you just get a look at his grades, you know, 85.9 PFF grade in 2025, 5th among all offensive tackles. It's tremendous. You know, he's a stud. He is stud. Yeah.
And you know, a lot of places have had him projected going to the Philadelphia Eagles as well. Mm-hmm. That's a possibility. And I know Detroit has other needs, but you know,
you do need an offensive lineman to protect Jared Goff. You need a pass blocking offensive lineman, you know, because, you know, once you figured out that inside stunt and you blitz the inside and you rattle Jared Goff, I mean, he was just throwing the ball all over the place. So you need somebody to plug that hole up.
And the nice thing is for Proctor is he does have that versatility to play offensive tackle and guard in spite of the height. So, I mean, that is a possibility he could get kicked inside. So don't be surprised if they do that, given his size. Number 4, Jennings Dunker out of Iowa.
That is the best name. That is the best name I've ever heard.
Jennings Dunker. Run blocking monster. He performs well in zone and gap schemes. He creates big run lanes, recognizes pre-snap defensive looks. He can diagnose exactly what defenses are doing with stunts and delayed blitzes. He has no problem with that. He's a high motor player, never seems to get tired. And he's capable of recovering when he gets beat. He resets and he fixes the situation and finishes strong. Cons on him. Pass protection, little rough there. Mirroring is not his forte. He's got a high pad level. He doesn't play with good leverage in pass protection. He just doesn't. He gets caught off guard by quicker edge rushers at times, and they just plow around the edge like that's where that mirroring, that kick step, He's got to figure that out. He does lack the ideal arm length. We saw that last year with Will Campbell, but somehow it didn't seem to matter in game because Will Campbell had himself a really nice year before his injury. Didn't exactly have a great game last game against the Chargers, I'll tell you that much. This is a guy that could possibly get kicked into guard because of the arm length, much like we were talking about Will Campbell last year. Here we are. I could see him possibly getting kicked inside to guard. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, and there's always options with these players, you know.
Yeah.
And if we take a look at Jennings Dunker, I mean, he had an 82.5 PFF grade last year with 729 snaps. And, you know, if we take a look at the trends, I mean, again, I mean, Cleveland is at 19%, Detroit's at 9%, Arizona at 6%. Now, obviously, it's really early in draft season. As we get closer to the draft, these trends and then these first looks and these statistics might get updated, you know, to get you prepared for the draft. But,
sure,
you know, it's interesting to see, you know, where this gentleman might end up. You know, I think pass protection is going to be a huge thing. But if you kick him to guard, he might have like a lower responsibility, or he'll have to remember less stuff and be more effective. We've seen that happen.
I think he fits what the Lions want to do in a lot of ways because they do like the power run, and because of the fact that he could get kicked inside to guard, he could wind up being a good fit, especially because the Lions' interior offensive line is what struggled. But offensive tackle is one of those things in the NFL that's a premium position. And if Taylor Decker walks out the door, you know, the Lions might be, you know, their hand might be forced here to go after the offensive tackle situation. And another guy that has been projected to Detroit on several occasions, particularly by the New York Times recently, was Caleb Lomu out of Utah. He's my number 5 prospect because that man is smoother than hell in pass protection. He mirrors defenders. His kick slide's great. He gave up just 2 sacks in 425 pass blocking snaps during his first season as a starter. He's a smart guy. He's able to make adjustments when he sees stunts and blitz packages at the line. He's able to drive through opposing defenders. He's got good lower body strength, and he's got a nasty initial punch. And when it makes content, I mean, it rattles defenders. Cons on him, he does lack the ideal mass. We just got done talking about 302 pounds. This guy's only 304 pounds. So he does need to add some mass. He only had 1 full season as a starter in college, which is a little concerning. He does struggle in run blocking a little bit. He doesn't finish blocks all the way through the whistle. And he needs to work on proper hand techniques. He likes to grab outside the pads. And so when he does that, it creates a situation where there's going to be holding penalties. When he starts getting beat, he just gets grabby and he grabs the guys outside of his pads and tugs them. And you know that's going to be a penalty at the pro level every time, every single time. I mean, it's without fail. So, but Caleb Lomu, another guy, good pass protector, want to see what he can do. He's going to me, this is one of those guys, he's likely coming out in this draft. He hasn't fully declared yet, but if he does come out in this draft, we could, you know, I don't know that he's ready for the pro level. We're going to have to wait and see. We saw sort of a similar thing with Tate Ratledge last year when the Lions picked up Tate Ratledge. Are we going to see the same thing with Lomu here?
I mean, it's entirely possible. You know, if you know, ideal mass again is critical. And if you really if you're struggling in an area where, you know, you really need to set up, you need to set up the run, right? Because if you set up the run, you set up the pass, and you really need to polish yourself up. But I'll tell you what, you know, his on-field IQ might serve him to get to that next level. You know, I would love to see if he could improve his stock in the combine. You know, that's because that's what you go to the combine for, is to, especially if nobody's really looking at you. You know, we saw like Fadil Diggs. You know, we saw Femi Oladipo. We saw Kane Medrano. You know, we haven't heard those guys get called out in the NFL just yet, but they made their respective squads. You know, they made.
Yeah, and not only that, Medrano originally projected as an undrafted guy. I think he went 5th round, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean,
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got guys who, you know, like you said, this is a situation for Lomu to go to the combine and increase his draft stock, and I think that'd be really good for him. It could turn out to be a really, really positive situation. I like Lomu. Got to develop as a run blocker, though. That's especially if you're going to play for the Detroit Lions. Like if the Lions are looking at him, you have to develop as a run blocker.
Yep.
You have Jahmyr Gibbs, for Christ's sake. Like,
exactly.
You've got to be a run blocker. So, Alex, you have 2 guys for me. I wanna hear who your sleepers are here.
Actually, I was able to pull up 3. So here are Cannonball sleepers brought to you by That Damn Spray. So when you shout out to the bootleg better. So let's just get into it here. Item number 1. Carter Smith out of the University of Indiana, a left tackle. He is a junior. You know, you had your guy from Miami, Francis Magoa. Here's his counterpart, who's also going to be playing in the national championship on Monday. So this gentleman has an 87.8 overall PFF grade, a 93.7 pass blocking grade, and an 83.1 run blocking grade. And let me just, okay, I want to, okay, auto loop.
He's a pass blocking monster. I know all about this guy. Pass blocking beast.
Yes,
I mean, he's good in run blocking.
Yeah,
he's good in run blocking.
Yeah, he's very good in run blocking.
Man,
you know, but that pass blocking grade is what people are going to turn their heads on. For his 2025 stats, he has 949. He played 945 snaps this past year, leading up to the national championship game. 505 run snaps, 448 pass snaps. He only gave up 5 pressures and 0 sacks and 0 quarterback hits all year. Now, that's impressive. The pros on him, he has an excellent temperament and competitive fire. He plays through the whistle. And I think, you know, Kurt Cignetti really, you know, injected that into his personality. I mean, let's just be real here. You know, the disappointed dad approach. We joke about that, but I'll tell you what. He
always looks like the disappointed dad.
I know, he's just sitting at the table, reading the paper, drinking a coffee, and ready to hand you a life lesson.
Yeah.
But but back to Carter Smith, you know, he has excellent hands and he has excellent grip, and he even has great recovery speed, even if he does get beat. You know, so you know, one of your guys had that earlier. Now the cons on him, unfortunately, he has an inconsistent anchor. He needs to improve his lower body strength. And what do you need in the interior? Strength in the lower half, because you got to deal with those big space-eating defensive tackles. You know, he also gets beat by the outside shoulder and the outside hand. So, you know, if a speedy edge rusher could probably get him on the outside shoulder, come around and get to the quarterback. And I watched this video from a YouTube user named JWAC Gridiron, shout out. And according to him, he had 454 true pass sets in his career, and those are a third of his total pass blocking snaps. And of those true pass sets, 27 total pressures were given up, which were 2/3 of all of his total pressures. So, you know, can you help a brother out here? What exactly is a true pass set versus a regular pass block snap?
A true pass set is like guy backing up into the pocket, clean pocket. That's just a standard pass set, you know. But as opposed to, like, for example, a run pass option, you know, or running an option play, you know, which you see a lot of in college. You see a lot of that, but you know,
So in that situation, you know, against a true pocket passing quarterback, you know, you need to be able to give the quarterback time to set up his routes, set up his reads, and go through his progression. because if you can't do that, then he's just going to get sacked, or he has to make up a play on the fly. Now the possible landing spots for Carter Smith, I've got Pittsburgh Steelers at 12%, the Green Bay Packers at 11%, and the Cleveland Browns at 7%. So I honestly think he could also do really well. Maybe Tennessee might need a left tackle. Lions, hello, Brad, get him on the phone.
Well, the nice thing about this guy is not only is the pass protection good, but one thing that the Lions like to do is they like to do some zone run, and when they do zone run and they get the guy outside, as a lead blocker, if you want to see a guy mangle linebackers, go back and watch Indiana games this year, because this dude finds linebackers and just goes, oh, okay. Like he just destroys them. It's hilarious. It's like watching Derrick Henry destroy a corner. Like it's like, oh, okay. You're just gonna kill somebody. That's what's happening. I mean, he comes off the edge. Guys kick outside. And when it's time to get those running backs outside, and he's as a lead blocker, whatever, God help whatever linebacker gets in front of him. I mean, that's just kind of what it is. It's like, okay, you're going over here. Bye. It's
throws them all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not afraid. Like he's not afraid to get downfield. This guy's a beast, man. I like him a lot out of Indiana.
Absolutely. I think I could see a problem with him getting downfield. You definitely don't want him to be marked as an ineligible receiver, because we've seen that happen a couple of times where somebody's like a little too trigger happy and going down the field a little bit. Next thing you know, you just cost your team 5 yards. So you do have to.
But ultimately, like in a zone run type of system, man, that man's going to be dangerous, which, like you said, Detroit could be really good for them if Jahmyr Gibbs' bread and butter is getting outside. That's his whole thing, getting outside the tackle. And you got this guy as a lead blocker? Dude. Dude.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
So
I love it. That's a good sleeper.
Yep. Number 2 on my list is Caleb Tiernan. No, Tiernan, Tiernan, because if I'm looking at the way the letters are, it looks like an M. So I hate that. I don't know why. Caleb Tiernan, left tackle out of Northwestern. He's a senior. Now, he has a 70.5 overall PFF grade, 84.3 pass blocking grade, and a 59.7 run blocking grade. So great in the pass blocking game. His 2025 stats, he had 835 snaps, 405 run, and 430 pass. And he gave up 13 pressures, 3 sacks, and 4 quarterback hits. Kind of needs a little bit of work, but he does have some. Go ahead.
The run blocking game is his problem primarily. I mean, that's been his big issue. I actually looked into him while I was going through my offensive tackle prospects, and as a pass blocker, not too shabby, very good in the pass blocking game, but run blocking, it's like, come on, man. It's just, he gets, and it's like, it's strange because he'll have a mismatch. He'll have it ready to go. Like you can tell he's getting ready to, like, oh, I'm facing off with this linebacker that's 50 pounds lighter than me, and then he'll get ready to face the guy, and the guy will just like dump him on his ass. It's like, what happened? How did you get dumped on your ass? Or he'll be facing like a tight end. How did the tight end dump you on your ass? Like it's and some of these tight ends, they aren't even like George Kittle types, where it's like George Kittle will literally like dump a dude. Like some of these linebackers, like, and he'll look so good sometimes where you're just like, oh, hey, look at that. That was a really good block. That was a really good set. And then couple plays later, he's over here just getting smashed by a tight end or a linebacker. Like, what the hell's going on? It makes me wonder if it's a footwork issue, if it's a leverage issue. Like, What are we doing here?
Let's go ahead and go through his pros and cons and see if we can't solve that mystery. So the pros on him, he is very quick despite his massive frame. So he has speed working for him. Plus, he does have high anchor strength and high counter move recognition. So he's a smart player. He can sense something coming. However, I think when you talk about cons, I believe that you're right when you say leverage or because of his tall frame, he'll have leverage issues. He'll stand up straight, and then, you'll get high on the pads, and you can just, twist him and, have him fall over. He also, because his weight shifts forward during some block sets, he'll end up whiffing with that punch. Yeah. And if you whiff with the punch, a good edge can just take that swim move and just get right past you. He does need to be more aggressive. He mostly settles for position blocks. And I think it's like that's only going to get you so far. I mean, but yeah,
I'm with you there. He lunges. I do agree with you. From what I was watching, because I was watching some tape on him, he does lunge. He has a tendency to do that where it's like blah, but the pad level is going to be a problem for him because like guy gets inside, if a guy gets underneath his pads, he dumps him on his ass, and that seems to be the ongoing thing as far as he goes. And unfortunately, in this draft class, got a lot of really tall offensive tackles in this one. I mean, he's 6'7", 325. I mean, that's a big boy. By the way, Livonia, Michigan boy. He's from right in Livonia, Michigan over there. So, but he's a good player.
Yeah. So some of the likely landing spots for him, we have right now we're trending Green Bay at 17%, Detroit at 14%, and Cleveland at 10%. So, obviously these things might change. Next up, the final man on our list here, Monroe Freeling, left tackle out of Georgia. He is a junior. He has a 72.1 overall PFF grade, has an 85.7 pass blocking grade, and a 61.6 run blocking grade. A little bit better than Caleb Tiernan, but again, pass blocking is this guy's bread and butter. In 2025, he had 881 snaps, 422 run snaps, 469 pass snaps, and in those snaps, he generated had 9 pressures, 3 sacks, but no quarterback hits. So, he's now the pros on him. He is a true athlete. He's able to, diversify his movements. He's very proficient at changing direction. He is an absolutely nasty blocker. The cons on him, though, he does need more upper body strength. He needs to be more patient in pass protection. He kind of gets, happy feet. And he does have some leverage disadvantages due to the inconsistency in his hip flexibility. So, people might be able to expose, and take advantage of the fact that, he kind of has some goofy movement in his hips. So the likely landing spots for him, we got Cleveland at 13%, New England at 12%, and Las Vegas at 10%. Scotty, what say you on this young man?
He's a good player, former basketball player. So, I mean, he's definitely an athlete. When you say he diversifies as an athlete, you're absolutely 110%. He's brutal. The way he finishes strong through the whistle. He does play through those. Good hands. He's got a nice punch. He does, consistently every time with that hand strength, the hand strike, he pops guys right in the chest every time. And there's not that scatter shot like I was talking about earlier with that initial punch coming off the line. He hits a guy, boom, and they know it. They know he's there. Pushes guys through, not afraid to put pancake blocks out there. He does that consistently. This guy's a really good player. He's got a quick first step. Love that coming off the line. He's not slow getting off the line at all. I like him a lot. Pass protection, like you said, his bread and butter, needs to run block much better. And same, your last guy there is same thing, which was surprising because he came from Northwestern, and Northwestern, I mean, they run the ball really well. I mean, they play traditional Big Ten football. We're looking at this guy. I mean, here we are again. Monroe Freeling, pass protector, a little less surprising because it comes from Georgia, and Georgia is not afraid to throw the ball at all, and they haven't been for quite some time. So, I mean, as a pass protector, they love this kind of guy. But yeah, he's a great player. Probably a day 3 guy. If I had to guess, I would probably say 5th round if I was a guessing man, but he's a good player. I think he's a hell of a sleeper. Somebody's going to pick him up. Somebody's going to get a stud here if they can develop him correctly. So that could be a winner. He does need to put some mass on, needs to hit the weight room a little bit, but ultimately he could be a great steal on day 3. A steal for Steele there.
So yeah, we always say, you find those diamonds in the rough on those later rounds. So whether it's 3rd round, 5th round, I mean, Puka Nacua was a 5th round pick, and he won Rookie of the Year a couple years ago.
Yeah, we see guys develop out of the 5th round, 6th round. We see them develop all the time. Mm-hmm. So I mean, this could turn out to be a really good thing for a team picking them up. Pretty excited about it. With that, those are our prospects. Boots will be bringing some more to the table as far as the prospects go. But let's jump into our divisional round, our final piece, our divisional round predictions. Alex, man.
Spoilers.
There you go. Man, I got to tell you, well, I am the official Pick'em champion this year. Mathematically, I cannot be caught. So I will be your Pick'em champion. Currently, I'm 186-91-1. Boots 159-118-1. Alex 163-114-1. I took the lead back in week 3 and just never gave it back. It was a wonderful thing.
There were a couple of weeks where you didn't miss us, all but like 1 or 2 picks. It was insanity.
Yeah, it was wild.
He's like Swami over here. Chris Berman with the big ass hat. Swami says.
Oh yeah, he's the Swami. Swami says. But as it turns out, I went 5-1 this week. Boots, he went 4-2. Alex, you went 5-1. So I am your Pick'em champion this year, but we'll continue this right through the Super Bowl anyway, just to see where we end up. But at the end of the day, I am your Pick'em champion. This will be the 2nd year in a row for me winning the Pick'em title here. But moving into our divisional round, we got 4 matchups this week. We got 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday to determine who will be going to the conference championships. And on January the 25th. So let's get down to business. Alex, here are our predictions for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, starting out with the Bills and the Broncos. This one is getting a little hairy. I got to tell you, the Broncos have basically had a outstanding year. 14-3. The Buffalo Bills finished out, 13-5 right now, including their playoff win now, but they finished the year 12-5. This is going to be tough. Can Josh Allen put on the cape again and beat the Denver Broncos, or is this the Broncos' year? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do here. I think the Broncos are coming in cold. I think that the Broncos are going to be stunned when they get defeated by the Buffalo Bills. Give me the Bills.
Wowee zowie. Well, not so fast, my friend. And here's why.
Go.
I'll tell you what. First of all, yes, it's cold because they're going to Mile High. And it's going to be cold. Now the Buffalo Bills, they know they're cold. They know what it's like to play in cold weather. They got a huge. They got a huge bump off of getting one of their first playoff road wins in a long time. But that's the problem we're running into here. the Bills are on the road, and they haven't been very successful on the road in the playoffs, you know.
No.
And you're going up against probably one of the toughest defenses in the NFL, and you got Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, and hey, it's Franklin, and you got R.J. Harvey in the backfield. So you know what? It will be a hard-fought fight because, again, the Broncos had a week off. They're going, you know, they do that, you know, that sigh of relief of getting the number one seed. We saw it last year. Thanks a lot, Dan. But I digress. You know, we've seen the number one seed fall off a cliff, you know, in the divisional round. Not going to happen here. Take me home, the country road. I know that's West Virginia. I'm going to Denver. John Denver, give me the Broncos.
Oh, boy. And Boots also takes the Broncos. Next up, let's jump into the 49ers and the Seahawks. The Niners, look, they're missing George Kittle.
Yep.
The defense isn't what it's supposed to be. But now we've got this Sam Darnold oblique concern. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to jump into. Look, I'm reluctantly here, nervously. I'm not going to say reluctantly, but nervously. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks. I'm concerned, but I have to go with the Seahawks here.
Now, this is a very interesting divisional matchup because, again, this guarantees that an NFC West team will go to the conference championship. Question is, which one? And are we going to see two? That's another question to answer. May we see two? But in the case of this game, I decided to break down their Week 1 matchup and their Week 18 matchup. They bookended the season. So in their first game on opening weekend, on September the 7th, in total yards, the 49ers had 384 yards and the Seahawks had 230. 265 in the air, 119 on the ground for the Niners, 146 through the air, and just 84 rushing on the ground. They had more penalties than the Niners did, but the Seahawks lost 2 fumbles. And San Francisco, dominated the time of possession, and it was a 17-13 victory for the Niners to open up the season. Close game. Now, Week 18 was much closer, and the stakes were much higher. And San Francisco was at home this time. This time, Seattle basically threw all caution to the wind and said, you know what, we're going for this. The Seahawks dominated the time of possession. They dominated the yards. They dominated passing and rushing. They were 6 for 13 on third down. They only allowed 2 sacks. They had 5 penalties. They only punted the ball once. So this is making up to be a great rubber match. And once again, it's at home at Seattle. Now, because the Niners beat the Seahawks at home in Week 1, but you have to keep in mind, too, it's Week 1 and everybody was healthy. Everybody was raring to go. We didn't really know where everybody was at. So given that fact, I am also going to pick the Seattle Seahawks to make it to the NFC Championship game. We fly high. Caw-caw!
There it is. Boots takes the Seahawks as well. So we get the Seahawks coming in. Next up, the Texans and the Patriots. Look, I know Drake May's had a great year. And I know Mike Vrabel has been phenomenal. For this Patriots team, they're going to win a Super Bowl at some point. Mike Vrabel is going to take this team to a Super Bowl, but the fun stops here. I think this Houston Texans defense is way too good. I think that this Houston Texans defense is going to harass Drake May. They're going to take it to him with that pass rush. You're going to see Anderson all over the place. You're going to see Hunter all over the place. You're going to see Stingley all over the place. You're going to see this Houston Texans team take Drake May to task. And this Patriots team, well, they beat a Chargers team that was wounded, missing offensive tackle. There's no escape here. CJ Stroud hasn't been playing his best ball. I'll admit that. But you saw how the Houston Texans dismantled the Steelers this week. 23 points unanswered fourth quarter. That has been happening all year. The Texans haven't lost a game since what? October? They've won, 10 straight?
Okay, I got to play the schedule game here. That is correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in a row. 10 if you count this game against the Steelers.
Yeah, so they've won 10 straight. And a lot of it has been based on the play of their defense. I am going with the Houston Texans to get the upset. We will see the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans, which is probably, if I was a betting man, I'd probably say that is the worst case scenario for the Buffalo Bills, because if you recall, the Houston Texans stomped a mud hole in them and walked it dry earlier this year. It's the worst case scenario, but give me the Texans. I'm rolling with them over the Patriots.
Yep. In that game, the Bills hosted the Texans and they lost 23-19. So yeah, so you definitely don't want that. Now, you kind of also don't want to face the New England Patriots because regardless, you got to be on the road. Because the Bills are the lowest seed in the AFC right now. So they're really behind the 8 ball here. This would be a great story for them to get to the Super Bowl as the 6th seed. Because if you recall, the New York Football Giants were the 6th seed back when there were only 6 seeds to be had. And they ended up winning it all and disrupting the undefeated season of the New England Patriots at the time. Could we see something similar? Perhaps. As far as this Texans-Patriots games goes, usually if the better defense is at home, they will win the game. But I saw what that Texans team did to Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh is no slouch on offense, and they have a stingy defense. But Texans, Will Anderson is for real. I mean, that double punch, C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson back-to-back in the NFL draft a couple years ago, it's going to pay dividends. Let's come through, Houston. Give me the Texans.
There you go. Boots also taking the Texans. And then last but not least, Rams and Bears. This one's going to be fun. Is this going to be Matt Stafford's swan song? Or is this going to be Ben Johnson proving to the world that he was the straw that stirred the drink in Detroit? I think that this is going to be Matt Stafford's swan song. As much as I like what Ben Johnson has done and what he has proven for the Chicago Bears, I told everybody that the Chicago Bears were going to win the NFC North this year. I said it. I told everybody that. I got called nuts. Said I didn't know what I was talking about. No, the Bears are going to wind up last in the division. No, they don't have enough weapons over there. No, it's a revamped offensive line. They don't have enough experience in whatever the case. Listen, this Bears team has showed up. Kudos to them, but the ride stops here. We are no longer in that realm of, we're going to win some easy games. We're in the playoffs, and you're taking on a red-hot MVP caliber Matt Stafford and company, and he's healthy. That team is healthy. That defense is solid. They're not the best, but they're about number 12, 13 in the league this year. They've got Jared Verse on the one side. They got Fisk. Okay, they got the kingpin over there, Braden Fisk. This is a good Rams team. And they're going to fight and fight and fight. I can see them beating the Chicago Bears in this game. Give me the Rams. Boots taking the Rams as well. Alex, what say you?
Not so fast, my friend. And here's the deal. It's, the Rams have a very, very, very stingy defense. And their offense has played lights out. But they got to go to the Windy City. They got to go to where it's freezing cold. They got to go to an outdoor stadium where they're right next to Lake Michigan. And if I'm a betting man, those conditions are not going to bode well for the kicking team. And whichever team is kicking the ball. So the question then becomes, who is better at converting a 2-point conversion? Who's going to get it done on the ground? Are the balls going to be affected by the wind? All of that has to factor in. I'm going to give the nod to the Bears for the home team. I do kind of want to see an NFC West, conference championship game, but at the same time, I mean, the Bears are a number 2 seed for a reason. Even though they lost their last game of the season to the Lions, and the Eagles kind of had to trip over their own feet to get to 3, they took care of the Green Bay Packers. And, we might see the cardiac Bears yet again. And that ultimately is what I'm counting on. Let's, hey, Chicago, what do you say? Bears are going to win today. Fly the W. Give me the Bears.
Wow.
Bear down.
And with that, those are our predictions.
Spoilers.
For the divisional round in the NFL playoffs. And Alex, that's our show, my friend. The podcast now streaming live on Twitch. Gotta love it. I'm so happy that we are able to get on Twitch, that we're able to start producing on this platform, that we're going to be getting. And when we said we're doing I called it the great expansion, the great Outside Blitz expansion of 2026. Here we are. We're on Twitch. We're going to be moving over to YouTube. We're going to be moving to Spotify. We got a SoundCloud, so we're going to be on SoundCloud. There's a lot that's going to be happening right here on the Outside Blitz. We've got a lot going on. Before we get out of here, we got to talk about some of our sponsors. First of all, let's talk about It's Your Time Massage. Amanda's a wonderful massage therapist. She does amazing work. If you're looking for a Swedish massage, deep tissue massage, if you're looking to add CBD oil to it, she does red light therapy. She does foot sugar scrubs. She does it all. She's the best of the best at what she does in the Metro Detroit area. Get yourself a massage at iytmassage.com, or you can schedule an appointment. You can schedule an appointment there, or you can find her at It's Your Time LLC on Facebook and get yourself a massage, folks. Remember, it's your time. Also, let's go ahead and talk about Patch Miracle Photography. Andrew Langland, his amazing wife, Chantel, they're the best of the best at what they do. The best photographers in the Metro Detroit area. If you're looking for wedding photos.
What?
Baby photos.
What?
Maternity photos.
What?
Graduation pictures.
What?
If you're looking to do a special sexy boudoir shoot for that special someone in your life.
All right.
And check them out, patchmiraclephotography.com. Book yourself an appointment. They are the best of the best at what they do. I promise you, they made me look like a movie star on my wedding night.
Hank Azaria. It's not too bad, is it? That's,
It's not horrible. But they made me look like a movie star on my wedding night. All their pictures of the highest quality. We've got a bunch of them of the kids blown up on the wall. We love it. Check them out, patchmiraclephotography.com. Or you can find them on Facebook at Patch Miracle Photography LLC. They're amazing. They're going to make your extra special days even more special. So check them out, patchmiraclephotography.com. Also, Alex, let's go ahead and talk about our one of our buddies over there, the artist formerly known as Big Willie Dubs Gaming. Now we're going to be talking about him
as a No Shot Bot TTV.
Yeah, No Shot Bot TTV. You can find him. He's a first-person shooter specialist. You can check out his channel over there on Twitch. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him on YouTube. You can find him on the TikTok.
The TikTok.
There's my old man moment for the day. You can check him out on the TikTok. No Shot Bot TTV. Will's awesome at what he does. And also, you can find all kinds of other stuff that he does on his channel, whether it's eating nasty jelly beans, whether he's eating the wings for the Hot Ones challenge, whatever the case, check him out. No Shot Bot TTV. He's so entertaining, and it's a great time. And Alex, what do you guys got going on over there at Steel Twins Gaming?
Well, this coming Friday, tomorrow evening, we will be debuting season 19 of Voice Acting, our flagship show, with a rather unique and interesting game. It's a story-based game, Beacon Pines. Scott, let me ask you a question. Do you remember those choose your own adventure books you used to read all the time, where like you get to the end of one page and then you get to choose which page to go to next?
Yes.
That's what this is. So, one word can change the entire story. And, and we're terribly excited to do, Beacon Pines. One of our latest friends at TwitchCon suggested this to us. And I dove into it, kind of doing research. Let me tell you, it's a great story. So this Friday, and that's another announcement too, we're moving Voice Acting to Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. because, my brother, the package Andrew Steele, my partner in crime, my day one A1, my tag team partner, he finally got weekends off. He gets
that's a win.
He gets Saturdays and Sundays off. So we now have a little bit more stability with our schedule. So going forward, Friday nights at 8:30, you tune into Twitch. And also, do you like video games, by the way? Do you like theater? Steel Twins Gaming may just be what you're looking for. Whether it's the good old first-person shooter, RPG, or your favorite story-based adventures, we think we have something for just about everyone. We got everything you need to satisfy your digital cravings, whatever they may be. And best of all, our channel, again, has something nobody else has, voice acting. And if you don't know by now, my brother and I will play a game that has a lot of text-based dialogue, and we will act it out with the voices that come up in our heads for the characters you see on screen. Sometimes we do our best to highlight the drama of the situation, and other times we just goof off to have a good time. Either way, you'll be entertained. We're on every Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Follow us on Twitter at Steel Twins Alex to keep up to date on our shenanigans. We're also on Facebook at The Steel Twins Gaming. Oh, don't forget the brother channel, Steel Twins Andy. There, you'll get your full fix of Nostalgic Mondays, Nintendo Tuesdays, FPS Wednesdays, Indie Thursdays, and Open World Fridays.
Yeah, you guys have a super entertaining channel. I love watching what you guys have to offer. Very good stuff over there. Check them out, Steel Twins Gaming, or you can find Steel Twins Andy. You can find them on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, all the spots. And then last but not least, let's talk about books. I want to talk about I Ate Cookies Out of the Trash by Tammy Pruitt. It's an inspirational guide based on her real-life experiences dealing with body image and eating issues. She shapes her book with struggles and how to overcome them. She's supported with research-based facts. She's a scientist. She's a registered dietitian. She's a scientist, Alex. Science. She lets others know that they're not alone in struggling with self-love and body image and disordered eating. But listen, she's not your stereotypical health guru. She doesn't run 7 miles a day. And she doesn't judge you for whatever you're eating. Instead, she's the friend you never had. She's the kind that encourages you and motivates you to rise above those dilemmas. She takes you down memory lane where life pitted challenges against her and what she did to get through them. And you get to learn why in the heck she ate cookies out of the trash. This is a great book. It reads like a conversation and not a boring one. You should check it out. You can go on the .coms. You can, just like that, you can go on the .coms and you can find it on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. You can find it on Apple Books, and you can't go into the store to find it. You got to find it on the .com. So check it out. I Ate Cookies Out of the Trash by Tammy Pruitt. Order yourself a copy and check it out. It's a great read. And Alex, that is our show. We are finished here. It's Divisional Round Weekend. I'm fired up. I'm excited. I know you're excited. It's going to be a great time. Listen.
Yeah, maiden voyage on the new computer.
I'm gonna come.
Yeah.
I'm going to come.
That's what it is. That's how I feel about Divisional Round Weekend. We're nearing Super Bowl Sunday. It's going to be a great time. Just 2 days away from my birthday is Super Bowl Sunday. So I'm even more excited. We're going to party it up. We're going to do a little barbecuing. It's going to be a great time. But folks, in the meantime, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Divisional Round Weekend. And we will see you next time right here on the Outside Blitz.
I bet you watch us again. Ciao.
I'm going to watch us again. You see that?
Yeah, that's right.
That.
You're going to watch us again.
I love it.
Yep. We're going places, kids. We're going places.